Hello again. I'm going to tell you about how I sand the bowls. And I sand the bowls right on the lathe. And I use this kind of sandpaper. If you can see this, it comes in a roll like that. It's from Klingspor. It's excellent quality. I guess it's made in Germany. And it's J-Flex sandpaper, and I've got it in 8 different grits that I regularly use, and you certainly wouldn't need to have all 8 grits. I'm sure that if I went every other grit, it would be just fine. It comes in a roll like this, and then I tear it into strips about 4 inches long, and it's got a real nice backing, kind of a canvas or something that it's on, and then the grit is applied to the other side, and 80 is the coarsest grit. I don't know if you can see the granules in there, and 400 is the finest grit. It's much finer. And so the way that you do this, when you sand the bumps and the grooves and the imperfections off with 80 grit, it goes pretty fast, but it leaves 80 grit scratches in there. So then you go to 100, and that sands off those scratches, but it leaves 100 scratches, and so forth, until finally you get down to 400, and it gets rid of the 320 scratches, and the 400 scratches are so fine that they don't, you put the finish on it and you don't see them. But I just use it because it's very convenient. If I was doing bigger bowls, I would probably be doing it with, I've got a power sanding stuff, but I could power sand the outside of these, but I don't have any kind of things that I could get the inside very easily. And I just like it. It's kind of a pleasant thing to do. The only bad thing about it is that it's very dust producing. And so what I do when I'm doing this, I have my dust collector going full blast right here, and it just sucks the dust right from the bowl right down into the thing, and it goes out to the cyclone and into the dust bag. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be using. What I've decided to do, I tried this before, and I think it's useless for me to go show me going through all of the grits, because the bowl looks pretty much the same, whether it's been sanded by 120 or by 180, it looks pretty much the same. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do the sanding of the 80 grit bowl, and then I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to go from 80 to 400, and then I think you might be able to actually see the difference in the surface of the bowl. It gets a really nice smooth surface. So I'm gonna get ready now and change the camera around and get ready and sand with 180, and then I'll turn the camera off. Well, here's the bowl before I turn on the lathe, just so that you can get some idea of what it looks like. It's a pretty nice, it's a pretty nice smooth surface, but if you feel it, there's little bumps and ridges and so forth that the sandpaper will take away. I'm going to sand it now with 80 grit, and I just, to preview here, I kind of go around the outside of it like this, and then I really perfect the edge so that it's a really nice smooth edge by going around several times like that. Then I go around the inside, and sometimes the sandpaper gets kind of warm. So one of the tricks that I've learned is that I fold it in half like this, and then I have that kind of insulates it. I can get to the inside. Now, and the hardest place, I always try to be really careful with getting the center part of it nice and flat. So here we go with 80 grit. I don't usually sand on the bottom of the bowl, but if I sand my usual way, you will just see the back of my hand, so that's not so good. So that's what I'm doing. This feels really a lot better. Now I'm gonna hit from here up and around. I think it's worthwhile blowing it off because sometimes the sand dust hides imperfections. But it looks good, and it feels a lot better than it did, a lot smoother than it did. I'm going to get a little bit. The basswood is kind of a rotten wood for as far as finishing goes, because it doesn't cut real good like a nice piece of maple or walnut. Okay, there's 80 grit and what 80 grit looks like, and so now I'm going to go through the progression, and I'll turn the camera off, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I've done all the grits. And I'm turning the air purifier on too, the dust collector on, so I don't get choked. Well, I put a few seconds of what my dust collector sounds like. It's terrible, but anyway, I use it. One thing I forgot to tell you, and I wanted to make sure, I think it's very important, is that it's good to blow off between layers, because if you're going, say, from 80 to 100, some of the 80 grit pieces are going to be laying in there if you don't blow it off, and then they can give you 80 scratches in your 100 finish. So anyway, blow it off between things. And I don't know what to say. I doubt that you can see this very much. The total elapsed time on that was probably in the neighborhood of 5 minutes, and it was really pleasant. Sometimes I used to make 50 of things for craft sales in the old days, but then it didn't get to be so much fun. But right now, for just doing an occasional bowl, this is really a pleasant thing to do. So anyway, that's it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into finishing. I'm going to leave it right on the lathe. I'm going to do my main finishing right on the lathe, and that'll be our next project.